categorically, I did not speak with Dr. Sandra Duru, but I did speak with Professor Mbeki as she presented herself. And let me take you back.
It's the same person.
I got to know that it's one and the same person after her broadcast. Let me take you back. And I have, if you don't mind, the screenshot of the entire chats. If you don't mind putting that up so that I can speak to it. In the morning at about 10 o'clock on the 27th of March, a dear friend of mine, Ina Agu, who I've known for the past 10 years, last I saw him was 4 years ago, but we've always maintained contact. He's been very involved and concerned with the developments. So he reached out to me in the morning. I was tending to my garden, and he said, Natasha, there's someone I would like you to speak to. She's been doing a whole lot of publications in support of your cause. I said, who? He said, Professor Mbeki, Professor on Facebook. I was like, okay, I've seen one or two of her posts in my support, and I think I did like and make a comment on it. He said, yes, that he did reach out to her. And then he was like, you know what, encouraged her and all of that stuff, and said, okay, if I should please call her and tell her thank you. My friend had connected me to a number of people in the past. Whenever he saw anyone grant an interview, he'll call me, oh, Natasha, I have this person's number, just say thank you. So people will feel appreciated and valued. I said, okay. So he did call the number out. That was about 10:30 in the morning on the 27th of March. So I called the phone. Hello, Professor Mbeki. She was like, hi, this is it. I told her, thank you so much for lending your voice to this cause. She said it doesn't really matter because she's a woman. She's been sexually harassed before. Her daughter was also sexually harassed. She connected with me, and she wasn't doing it for me alone. She was doing it for, the bigger vision, all Nigerian women and women around the world. Conversations went on. But basically, the conversations were not all that she put out or what she said. And before you run down the chats, the screen, I did send you the video of all the conversations, and I'll appreciate if you publish it for Nigerians to read. But
I will.
while we were speaking, she told me she was a professor of psychology. I had no reason to doubt because, come on, I like to believe people on the face value of what they present themselves to be. If she says she's a professor, okay, she's a professor. I mean, I supposed to know that she is Professor Mbeki is just a moniker. It's just a decoy of who she truly is. And yeah, she did say she was a professor of psychology. And I was like, oh, to myself, this is who I am. I ran her through my credentials as well. She said she's affiliated with a number of international organizations, United Nations, WHO, UNICEF for Children, and many others. I was like, okay. She said she was going to use her platform to draw attention on this matter of sexual harassment, and that if I had any other addresses, so that she would also write to them through her organization. I was like, okay. So while we're on the call, if you can publish that, I think it is important I speak to the chat messages. So that was when I did send to her the first two contacts, which is the Senate President's counterpart in London and the Speaker of the Commonwealth. That, okay, while you're writing to your United Nations and other international organizations, you can also...
Those organizations, I wasn't able to blot their address. Is that okay with you?
Maybe just... Okay, so but how will you... But I want you to put...
organizations.
But will you put the video? I want you to put the remainder of the chat, because if you can't, then maybe you want me to do a screenshot thing.
And one of the reasons that I'm glad that you sent this is because a lot of people would also like to know, why did you delete your conversation with her? Because she put up...
We're going to get to that. That's why I want you to show the entire... I want you to show the entire video, the screenshot. But what might have to happen, since we want to take away the addresses of the first... Yeah, you've showed it already. Yeah, okay, so we start from here. Yeah. No, just stop. Please go back a bit, up a little bit to the top. Yeah. You can say it's Professor Mbeki, To the best of my knowledge that I spoke with, as she presented herself, it's just like you now, Adeola. If I've known you as Adeola, you can't come tomorrow. I saw you're Cynthia. Because at that point, I was speaking pretty much on the phone. My phone was always buzzing between the lawyers and Nigerians of goodwill. I spoke to a lot of people. So in my mind, I saved her name as Professor Mbeke. But that wasn't the DP she had at that time. The DP has changed anyway. It was a white dress she was wearing, but it's still an AI generated. I didn't know it was an AI generated video. Like I said, I trusted her on face value. So after, just before then, she sent me, after I forwarded the gentleman the contacts that she said she was going to send letters to, because she's affiliated with United Nations and many international organizations that promote women rights and all of that. So if I had any contacts that she should write to, I should forward. So I said, okay, fine. You can as well write, draw the attention of the Speaker of the UK Parliament and the Commonwealth. That was why I sent that. After all, she told me she had written books and that these books would also speak to the situation at hand. I was like, okay, she sent me this forward. It's only later on in the course of things I got to know that the books she says she's written are also AI written books. But anyway, that's for her to decide or whatever. So just scroll down a bit.
Okay, so we can just play it.
Yeah. So after that, in the course of our conversation, that was me sending to her the I think that was a letter during the return, my return. That was the document, the letter, the Kogi Central Political Frontier. We did speak about that. So I told her that, look, this does not exist. We run a CAC check, and this Kogi Central Political Frontier, as a body that was used to recall me, did not have a legal bearing because it was not registered. So that was what we spoke about. Mind you, it was on the phone, so we're kind of communicating through that. I'm just letting you know the nature of the conversation. So you see that it does not, what she's saying that I said does not even add up at all. That also, I can forward to you what that was, is my petition, my lawyer's petition to INEC. That was what I sent there. So later on, she did say that she had a message. She reached out to my friend, Ina Okoli, that she didn't want to speak to him on blah, 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 that she was an independent person pursuing justice. I didn't really understand where this came from because at that point we had finished talking. So I didn't, so when she said that, I didn't really understand that. So I think I tried to call her, but she didn't pick up. You can scroll down to see. Please play it for the, no, just let it run through. Yeah, you can see that I didn't really understand where that my friend stopped. So here, also part of the conversations we had, now please pause here. Part of the conversations we had was the manner in which Senator Nweboyi went all out, castigating me and demeaning me on all the news platforms. So at that point, I told her that I didn't like the fact that I am constantly being reduced and objectified as just a beautiful woman or, you know, a pretty face, that I would like people to look at me as a technocrat, a woman who is well schooled, who is competent, who is a senator, that when men are are conversing, men don't go, oh, I'm going to engage you because you are well built. I'm going to engage you because you're handsome. Men don't do that. So if you're speaking to me as a lawyer, as an MBA executive, as a senator, speak to me on my competencies and not because I'm beautiful. So that was where she now said, oh, you are a lawyer? And I was like, yes, of course. I ran her through. I'm a lawyer. I have my MBA in oil and gas management. My formative years in my career were spent in the oil and gas sector. So I did run her through that. So at that point, she said, she's impressed. Do I have my credentials? I said, yes, I do have my credentials, which I already made public in the year 2019. And it's actually in the media space. She said I should please forward my credentials to her, together with this screenshot from News Central Instagram page, that she was going to make a post along the line of identifying a woman on competences and not a pretty face. So that was where I sent this. And if you look at it, there are 15 items. Just scroll up again so that people will see. All of this, which, hold on, just pause there. There are about 15 of them in total. They were all my credentials. That they were sent in. I dropped them in at the same time. It's like when you drop pictures or PDF files, they all land at the same time. Contrary to what she said on her live, that this were me, this were when I was chatting her up and offering her 200 million to blackmail Akpabio. That is not true. Nobody can type 15 messages and the same in 1 minute. It's not possible. I don't even think AI will do that, however fast and smart it is. So these 15 documents, Adeola, I'm going to forward them to you. You'll see.
So everything came in at 12:40 on my
My own
screen.
time, 12:40. But if you look at her own message, it was 6:40, I think. If you look at it, because when she did her own, I saw the screenshot. Remember, she's in Texas. They are like 6 hours
Okay,
behind
so
us
you're,
too.
you're
So
saying
for
that
my
the messages that she said you deleted, you are saying that they were actually your credentials
my
that you sent
credentials,
to her.
look at them. I've sent, hold on.
So
I've
why
sent them
did you?
to you. I'm getting there. Look at them. These are my credentials. There were 15 of them from that's my primary school certificate. From my primary school certificate, my testimonial. This is it. My secondary school, Federal Government College, Idoani. You'll see it there. This were University of Abuja, Nigerian Law School, NYSC, CAPMLP, that's University of Dundee, Aberdeen, I had a program there, and many other. This is INSEAD, my MBA. Okay, this is still INSEAD, IHRDC in Boston, because I did mention that I have quite a lot of. So I've sent everything to you anyway. It's in your phone right now. But that's what I published. That's it. And you know one thing, the beauty is that I just got back from the US because I was there to also see how we could further some of this, because I really am going to get to the bottom of this. And I'm told that in matters, I believe if WhatsApp is contacted, they can be able to extract these deleted items because they did have it happen on their platform. So we're hoping that in the course of the litigations, they'll be able to extract. But I'm just letting Nigerians should just understand that it was in the course of our conversation where she wanted to make a post putting side by side Senator Nwabo's statement. If you look at it up there, where he said, does Natasha think she's one of the most beautiful women in Nigeria? So, and I told her that I didn't like the fact that women are being reduced or objectified. Speak to me as a competent individual, a technocrat. And that was why I told her about my academic, qualifications, and she said, okay, I should forward it. So this were all. That's why they all dropped at the same time. When you drop bulk messages in pictorial forms or PDF or whatever, they land the same time. It's impossible. Yeah, that's it. That's why this is what I sent to her. My work, certificates, everything. So yeah.
So people may ask, why did you delete the messages?
So let's proceed. So after that, I didn't hear from Sandra. Let's go back to the text messages. Yeah. Okay. Aha. Look at the time. That was 12:40. So then at about, this is it on my phone. So just to let you know that I want to read it as well from here since we'll be, okay. So this is it from my own phone. That's the screenshot. And then this is where we are here. Okay. So now, then after about 4 hours, she sent this first message asking for a contract and asking how I was going to take care of her and her team.
So let me read a
Let's
little
read
bit
it.
from
This is
that
very
message.
important. It's important Nigerians read this because this is where things got interesting.
I
Mind
would
you,
like,
the 37 minutes we spoke had nothing to do with contracts, had nothing to do with I'm engaging. I never told her there was nothing like sexual harassment, that I'm all set out to destroy Tinubu's Yoruba government, that I called Nigeria gullible and hungry, that I paid Dr. Obiesi Kwesili money to carry on the advocacy, that I, what did she say? I was going to poison my
You
husband,
called her useful idiot.
that I called Frida useful idiots.
Yeah, useful idiot.
Never, ever, ever. And I'm actually glad in a way that she is a witness in this federal government suit, because she has to testify on everything. She must provide evidence that is going to be subjected to verification. Because you see, there's a limit. I don't know. I've listened to some of these audios. What she did in a way is so funny. Like, apparently the way I'm speaking to you over the on here now sounds differently from when I'm speaking to you in person, or when I grant an interview, or when I speak to you over the phone. So what she probably did was get me get how I sounded on the phone, of course. And then she released one part where I mentioned about working in brass LNG and all, of course. But then she used some AI to now generate other parts that I didn't speak of. But again, I don't know what else she has in stock, but I'm challenging her. And like I said, I just returned from the US. I'm in London now, but I'm going to be in Nigeria for the arraignment on the 3rd, because I have done no wrong. I'm not going to run away. The 3rd of June has been fixed, 2 p.m. So I'm going to be there to defend myself fully in person. And, but also, I'm letting Nigerians know that this is not going to go down this easy, because people can't wake up one day and just cook up stories and manipulate and use whatever technology they think they can access just to defend the person. No, I'm saying it clearly now before the world. I never said there was no sexual harassment. I never said I'm out to destroy Tinubu's Yoruba government. I'm not one. People who know me will know that I am not a tribalist, and I respect and appreciate every tribe in Nigeria, every ethnicity. I mean, who am I? I'm half Ukrainian, half Nigerian. Who am I to talk about tribes when I'm actually one part of the other world? So that's not my nature. That's not my language. And if anybody said that, that's probably her team. The people who are sponsors were the ones that put those words to her, because they knew that I had and I enjoyed a lot of support from Nigerians, not just in Kogi State, across the country, even in diaspora. So, and he also knows, the Senate president also knows, that I enjoyed to a large extent a good relationship with the president himself, even though I have never said it in the open. But I'm saying it now. And that actually annoyed him, because there was a time that the Senate president told my husband, I was like, "Are you aware your wife goes to see the president?" And my husband was like, "Yes, I'm aware. Whenever she has critical issues to raise, like before I brought up the Jakarta's probe, I did meet with Mr. President to make sure that he knew the nature of that, and was okay with it." So, and other things I have met in person. So I do not have a hostile relationship with the president, even though I'm in opposition. I keep telling people, the people of Kogi Central voted me to work as a senator, not to go out there, antagonize, and create enmity. And neither is also important for me, people to know that my issues are with the Senate president himself, not the Nigerian Senate, not the institutions, and not the presidency. But it's unfortunate that he's wielding things to entrap all the institutions to attack me. But like I said, it's important. I'm glad you've given me this chance to tender things. But let's go back to the text now. What for? The people want to know, why did I delete my credentials from her page? So let's go back. The message she wrote there, after 4 hours of our conversation, she went, "Dear Senator Natasha, I hope this message finds you well." No, please go back. No, still scroll up. Yeah. "I hope this message finds you well. I would like to understand how you would like me to proceed in assisting with your case," mind you, the sexual harassment case, "including the specific outcomes you intend to achieve and the timeline you have in mind. Additionally, please let me know if you would like to formally engage my services or support my team in executing the strategy we have carefully put together to resolve this matter effectively." Now, Nigerians should pause and listen. Just let's think. If actually She said that what I deleted was me offering her 200 million to blackmail the Senate president. Why is she talking about resolving this matter effectively? All what she said, if I had castigated the presidency, talked about destroying the Yoruba tribe or the Yoruba government, then subsequent messages should have from her should have been in tune of what we had discussed. But here she's presenting herself as a mediator. She wanted to assume a role of mediating between the Senate president and myself on sexual harassment. And then she was asking for a contract. Please, let's continue. Then she said further in the second paragraph, please feel free to speak with me confidentially. I value discretion and professionalism. I would prefer to handle matters directly rather than through intermediaries. I don't know who the intermediaries are, maybe my friend who introduced us. For this reason, I have not shared any details with the individual who contacted me regarding a media appearance on your behalf. I approach cases differently, maintaining strict boundaries to ensure the best possible outcome. Let me know how you would like to proceed. I am here to support you. Please, can you scroll down? She wrote all nice. Let people see the last part. I'm here to support you. Just pause there. If actually I called her and I was poaching her to bring down the government, to destroy people, to destroy the Senate president, I've called Nigerians gullible and hungry. So why was she being patronizing and nice? Let's think. But when I saw that, okay, it was after the second, I wasn't with my phone then, so she continued after like an hour. She continued, would you be open to a closed door negotiation involving you, your husband, and Senator Akpabio to bring a resolution to this matter if it comes to that? If so, where would you prefer such a meeting to take place? Sometimes strategic negotiations are necessary to untangle complex situations. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. She was still pushing me, presenting herself as a mediator, as all of that. Mind you, she has told me she's a professor of psychology or human psychology. So I know that I had the word psychology or sociology. I know she was a professor of one of them. So at that point, I paused and I called my friend. Before responding to her, I called Ina. And I said, Ina, she mentioned something about a contract. Is that what did you have that conversation with her? He said no, that he only told her that I was going to call her to appreciate her and have like a girly chat. And I was like, okay, but she's asking for a contract and she's asking how I was going to support her team. And I was like, okay. He said I should ignore that he never met. I said, but did you ask her about a media appearance? He said, yeah, because she was writing so well. So he thought she might want to appear on a TV station, maybe channels or AIT or Arise, and speak about her concerns because she had written previously that she was also a victim of sexual harassment and her daughter also. So maybe she want to learn the vote. That was all. He didn't ask that it's going to be paid or anything. So that was where I now responded. Please just show my response. You can see I refer to her as dear professor, not dear Sandra or something. I thought I was speaking to a professor. So here I responded, dear professor, I have had to read your message times over, and I am not comfortable going contractual. My friend Ina probably connected with you on the passion he saw you speak against the injustice meted against me. While I continue to count on your kindness, which I trust will, amidst others, snowball into justice for women everywhere. However, if you stop chatting our cause, know I still deeply appreciate your sisterhood spirit. And whenever I return to the Senate or wherever I find myself, know you have a friend and a cheerleader in me, love. That's to show you from this. I made her understand that I wasn't going into any contract. I only called her to appreciate her because of what she's been doing. And our conversation was not in any way in furtherance of an activity, not to talk of an illicit activity. From here, you can tell. And mind you, I have downloaded all of this whole conversation, and I've sent it in a digital form as well as printed these messages to all the security agencies in Nigeria. I'm actually surprised. That's why I say that the police never looked into this. Instead, they are listing her as a witness against me over a criminal defamation. Someone that was poaching me for a contract that I said no. I'm actually surprised the Senate president fell for this scam because he would have been smart enough to say, no, you know what, I'm not in. Because at the end of the day, I didn't think there was a reason for me to pay anybody. Everybody who has spoken, I never paid anybody anything to speak up. I've watched people across our platform, even people from Labour Party, even many APC members themselves who stood up and say, you know what, they are APC, but they stand for Natasha against sexual harassment. I didn't have to pay anybody. So let's continue. Go back again. So you can see from here, I clearly told her that while I'll continue counting, that I wasn't ready to engage her contractually, that I would trust that she will continue advocating. But even if she stops because there's no contract, it is fine. I appreciate what she's done before, and she should know that I have the sisterhood bond with her. But that didn't go down well with Sandra. Sandra, as she is now, Professor Mbeke, as I thought she was. So she continued, Dear Senator, I appreciate your message and the sincerity behind it. Let me make one thing absolutely clear. There is nothing contractual or monetary about officially engaging me to handle what I have already been doing voluntarily. Please explain that to me as a lawyer.
I'm so sorry.
Just, yes, okay. Explain that to me. At that point, she's trying to wind my intelligence. No, still go back. Okay, I'm trying to wind my intelligence that I should go ahead, that engaging her in writing contractually does not amount to monetary. And I'm so glad I didn't do that. Because I bet you, even if I had say, I don't know, I'm trying to understand the nature of the contract. Yes, dear Professor Mbeke, I engage you to mediate in me and blah, blah, blah. This lady would have slammed me with a bill of $500,000 or $1 million. Only God knows if she had that. But immediately I sensed it when she was playing that no, a contract would have, everybody knows a contract will amount to remuneration at the end of the day. So here she said, there is nothing contractual or monetary about officially engaging me to handle what I've already been doing voluntarily without even needing to discuss it with you first. My work in addressing injustice has never been about personal gains, but about clarity, coordination, and commitment to the cause. Formalizing an engagement is not about transactions. It's about ensuring proper communication alignment and efficiency in tackling the very issues we are fighting. Again, you will see this is a woman who came up to say, my deleted messages were all about destroying the government, destroying the Senate president, doing all of those things. Nigerians, I know we're very smart people. You can tell here that if indeed I spoke to her about paying people or about destroying the government or or offering her 200 million to blackmail the Senate president into some murder, you would have seen that in the conversation. But here she was putting herself as a mediator, seeking an engagement for her to continue what she said she has been doing voluntarily. And what was she doing voluntarily prior to this was advocating for women against sexual harassment. So our conversation was on sexual harassment, and never did I tell her there was no sexual harassment. So that's it. Again, she said, regardless of where this part leads, that's the last paragraph. Okay, no. Hold on. Before then, I skipped one part. I respect your stance, even if I believe that a structured approach would have made things smoother and more effective. That said, I will continue to do what I'm known for, standing against injustice and misinformation, adhering to facts, and maneuvering sensitive matters with a critical but fair lens. My stance is independent, and I take full responsibility for my actions. How you choose to engage with that is entirely up to me. That's up to you. Regardless of where this path leads, I know that my fight is not for individuals alone, but for the larger cause of justice and truth. I value the connection we built. And whether or not I continue to chat this particular cause, which is of sexual harassment, I will always stand where integrity and justice demands. She wrote that. After, I didn't respond, but I read it. But after 7 minutes or so, she wrote again. I don't think this is the right path for me. I thrive best when I operate independently, guided by my principles and convictions. At the end of the day, all that matters is achieving a just and positive outcome, and that remains my ultimate hope. So at that point, I was like, you know what, let me just end this because I already began to feel very uneasy. So I now wrote to her, and this was my last message to Sandra, or Professor Mbeke then, as I thought she was. I wrote, Madam, I respect your independent views. Maybe we can forget we interacted. I will caution my friend Ina, my friend who connected us, to guard his heart in seeking help. God bless us. God, that was my message. Look, from here you could tell that this was the same day. All this conversation was just one day, 27th of March,
So you guys only
2025.
spoke once
Only
in one.
once, only once. And the only time I spoke with her, 37 minutes. If you scroll back, you'll see 37 minutes. It was nothing controversial. It was, we even ended it by saying at the end of all of this, we're going to join forces, her in America with her network, how we, and myself in Nigeria with my experience and her experience, how we're going to create safe spaces for women. I did mention to her that I noticed that the Senate rules was silent on sexual harassment and on how to resolve matters among senators. I also told her that I had received lots of calls from women in NNPC, in other organizations, in banks where they were sexually harassed and demanded sexual favors before their promotions. I told her that, look, I think Nigerians public and private spaces need to have the sexual harassment codes. And that is something we would work together with her experience as an international figure, which I thought she was. I didn't know that she's not even a professor. I didn't know that she's not even a doctor. You know, it's later on I got to know. So that was our conversation. It wasn't what is being painted. So even you've seen, like, look at it. At this, my second message to her was, Madam, I respect your independent views, because she had mentioned several times she works independently, she works. And I was like, there was no way I was going to engage her. There was no way we're talking about mediation. Our matter at that point was still at the ethics committee level. And this was before the presidential panel was set up. So I said, maybe we can forget we interacted. At that point, I was like, I don't even want to have any conversation with you. So if, as she said that I engaged her, or I was trying to pay her 200 million to entrap the Senate president into some murder and all of that, I wouldn't have. I'm the one here that's calling. You could tell from my response, I was trying to end it with her. I wasn't having it because I had already sent. This was when I went back and I deleted all my, because I realized that this lady is a scam. She's probably a blackmailer. So I went back there and I deleted my credentials. That was what prompted me to delete my credentials. And I'm saying it again. Nobody, nobody can type 15 messages in 1 second, in 1 minute. 15. Not even AI. I mean, if you want to hold ChatGPT and go, ChatGPT, create a message on so. Before you get to the third one, maybe back and forth on ChatGPT, you would have, at least you would have seen the time would have gone to 12:41, 12:42, 12:45, to show that there's a sequence of timeliness. And I bet you nothing like that. It was my credentials I sent because she wanted to make a post countering what Senator Nwaboyne said, that I am just a pretty face. Why think that I'm the most beautiful woman in Nigeria and all of that? And I told her I didn't like the fact that I was reduced as an object. Do you understand? I wanted to be addressed as a competent technocrat, a woman who is a lawyer, who is an MBA executive, who had worked in the oil and gas sector and now joined politics. And all of this was what I was bringing to the table politically in raising the standard of leadership. That was the conversation we had. That was why I sent my credentials. But when things turned ugly, still the same day, about 10 p.m., I knew that I had to go back to delete my credentials. And that was the last time I spoke to her. But what happened after that snowballed into her. Apparently, probably she thought she was going to entrap me into some contract, make some money from me, and she wasn't getting that. So let's continue. The next thing, she was sending me screenshots of how people were making comments, still trying to entrap me, like, Natasha, people are making comments, we need to act kind of thing. So she then wrote again, I respect your perspective, but let's approach this matter with fairness and objectivity. The pursuit of justice will never be reduced to emotional game or dismissed as distraction. If Senator Natasha claims to have evidence, I don't know whether she was sending this to me or she responded and she was letting me know what she had responded. But basically, you could see that her tone was already changing. Still the same day. This was already just a few minutes to, uh, yeah, still the same day, about 10 something. An affidavit, while not substantial or blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Yeah, it's still a legal document that carries weight. So basically, she was just responding to somebody's message. She wrote that this has birthed unheard screams, a handbook for all our children to educate them on how to handle similar situations. And here, this word got me. At the beginning of my conversations, the woman told me she has already written a book and she has sent me a forward. If you look at that first two screenshots, she said she had written a book on heard screams and she was in the course of publishing the books. And here, later on that same night, she's telling me that this my scenario has created, has birthed a book that she said she had written before. Now she's saying my situation had made her write a book. So at that point, I already knew that I was dealing with with a psychopath. I didn't respond. And then in response to my message where I said, let's forget that we spoke, she now responded, of course, good luck. You could see it now became a monologue where she was responding. So probably she was having conversations in her head. Probably she's schizophrenic. So she then wrote, heaping more enemies through lack of understanding and arrogance, yet you have said so much. I didn't understand where that was coming from. Then she continued, you have an appalling spirit of pride, and such is certain to drag anyone it possesses into sure doom, no matter how long it takes. I read it, I didn't say anything. I called my friend. I'm like, why is this woman acting this way? It's like she's having conversations, or is she building a line of chat so to seem as if I'm speaking to her and then she's responding? So my friend told me that she was actually forwarding these same things to him too. That, oh, your friend has an appalling spirit of pride, it's not going to help her, blah, blah, blah. I didn't respond. So forward 3 days after, mind you, the first conversations that I've read happened, it was just a tough day from 10 o'clock in the morning when we spoke till about 10:43 p.m. So 3 days after, which was on Sunday, the 30th of March, she just wrote, send this message. I had all your threats, but I have zero tolerance for such nonsense. Bring it on. I didn't speak to her. I didn't send no threats. I was minding my business. So I was surprised she wrote that. I didn't respond again. She now wrote a very long, I don't know if I wrote, yeah, a very long, this was where I knew that, okay, she was already turning against and trying to blackmail me. Made a post, I said this, I said that, and I heard that this was what she forwarded to someone who works with the Senate president, and this was how she was able to get them engage her. This was what, well, this was it. This was the last, when she sent this last message, that was when I blocked her. So I blocked Professor Mbeki on the 30th of March. I blocked her. I went to Facebook. I blocked her same day. I didn't converse with her on Instagram, but I searched her up, blocked her there. I can't remember if I blocked her on X, on Twitter, but I knew that at that point I already heard so much, and I was like, you know what? All of this stuff, I was just blocking, because I knew that she was already up for blackmail, and she was probably looking for a bidder, someone who will engage her services. So that was it. You can see I blocked her that day. So Nigerians should know I spoke to a woman who impersonated herself as Professor Mbeki, not Sandra Duru. And it was an innocent conversation whereby I had to call her based on my friend's advice, a good innocent friend who thought it was wise and safe. Our conversations were not in any way along the path of destroying the government or promoting regional divide or saying that I bought a rice. Can I buy a rice? Or that I influenced FIDA or Dr. Obi with money or Dr. Abiola of Who Manifesto. Nothing like that. Or I called Nigerians gullible and hungry. Nothing, never, never. It was just a game, a plan to cut me off my support and set me against the president, the institutions, and the Nigerian people of whose support I've generously enjoyed by the grace of God. So this was it.